Welcome everybody to episode number 9 of the heel turn. We are almost in double digits.
We've been doing this forever.
Yeah, we are live, man. We are here.
I just thought of something. This one would have been great for episode 8, for his 8 Intercontinental Championship.
We
should have had Y2J out today. Whatever.
Next Jericho
Missed opportunities. Yeah.
I am Big Roth TV here yet again with Seth, but no, Babyface, but no,
just
Don Josh is back.
We got a pretty cool episode today. We're going to go ahead and take a look back in 2019. We're going to go over not all, but we're going to go over our top 5 best and worst title changes of the past year. Yep. So this is going to be a little bit interesting. We don't know what each other's are. We have a good idea. If you've been watching this show for any period of time, you can probably guess who's on his list somewhere around there. But for the most part, like I said, we kept this all kind of secret to each other. We're going to find out here in a minute. So I guess we're going to dive right into, we're starting with the worst, right?
Before we get into the list, I did want to touch on one thing that happened, and I wanted to apologize publicly because I said on the previous episode, nobody wants to see Aleister Black versus, I forget his name. What's his name?
Buddy Murphy.
Buddy Murphy. I just said it.
I feel like
my short-term memory.
I told you were the only one that doesn't want to see that.
I said
and
it.
You're still showing it because you can't remember the some respect on that man's name.
Look, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I watched that match. That was a good-ass match. That was a good. And Aleister Black got a little color on his face in the match. Got a little cut up on his face on that match.
He did, yeah, a little bit.
But a lot of it. He got messed up at some point there. But man, from a technical aspect of the match and like storytelling, going back and forth, and just they really matched up well. Which I guess that's the part that I wasn't interested in. I was like, to me, just looking at their characters, I didn't think they matched up well. I thought it was going to be like a squash. Granted, I like Buddy Murphy. I just thought that Aleister was going to make short work of the match, and it wasn't going to be interesting. And Buddy shut me up. I'm sorry, Buddy. I apologize. You still took the L that I thought you were going to take in the same fashion that I thought you were going to take it in. But you did bring, like you said, Black Mass is out of nowhere now.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it coming. It's not like it was a setup like, okay, he's going to do the move, he's going to slam him, and then Black Mass. It was like Buddy Murphy was making a run, and I was like, he might get this up in the end of the match. That's it.
Yeah.
So I stand corrected. That's my bad. We can go ahead and move on to the next now.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we're going to start off. I guess I'll start it off. We're going to drop down from 5 to 1, starting with the worst title changes we think happened this year. So I'll go first, and starting it off, sorry to have to do this to you. The November 8th episode of SmackDown, my number 5 for worst title changes here was the New Day taking the SmackDown Tag Team titles from the Revival.
That's your worst?
That was not my worst.
Oh, okay.
That was my number 5. We're going down to 1.
Okay.
That was no way that'd be my worst one. But for me, it was definitely worse material because it was really just handing consolation prize to Kofi.
Yep.
After what we'll get into a little bit later on down the list. So
okay.
That's my number 5.
So my number 5 for worst title changes of 2019 would be Charlotte's 9th and 10th title reigns.
You just kind of threw them in together there.
Both together. Title reign number 8 was understandable. I'm sure you have something to say about that too. But number 9 and 10, it was like, for what? For what purpose did we need those 2 reigns this year? Like, I don't know. I think both of those 2 points were pointless, especially the 10th one. The 9th one, I could see it just a little bit, but I still think it was unnecessary. But that 10th one, it was like, we just need to get her to 10.
Yes.
We just need to get her to double digits so she can be, she's the queen and give her an extra. So that's my number 5.
That was awful. That actually leads really well into my number 4, because my number 4 was the ninth title change, the one that happened at Money in the Bank, where Charlotte went over Becky Lynch with a little bit of interference from Lacey Evans. Like you said, I didn't see any reason for that to happen. The only thing that I can kind of see was they were at the point starting to really hype up the fact that Fox had a new TV deal.
Yeah.
We had to get one belt away from Becky, get it over onto SmackDown, so we can finally, in the next coming months, split the brands up and everything like that.
Yep.
But it didn't make any sense. Looking, even like hindsight, they moved Charlotte to Raw anyway.
Yep.
And then they still had the wild card rule going on at the time, which that was the worst decision of 2019.
Yep.
By far. We don't even need a list for that one. So yeah, I'm with you. My number 4 was Money in the Bank SmackDown Women's title change from Charlotte.
My number 4 is Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman defeating the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson.
I forgot about that one.
There was no just because these two are in a feud for the Universal title, we need to make them. I hate that they do that for one.
They love them a good. How are they going to get along?
We got to get along, and then they win the title for like 3 weeks for no reason at all. You stop the Good Brothers' momentum.
Yep. They were just picking up too. Didn't they just start? Had they started the OC?
I think that's when the OC
just started.
just
the OC.
started.
Yeah, so they were starting to pick up. They started to look dominant again.
Yep. And then you take it off to give them to this makeshift team for no reason. That team was never going to be. I'm getting mad thinking about it.
Braun's already buried the entire tag team division by himself.
Yep.
So, and then doing this, I hate when they make shift teams, like you said, because that just puts a fucking hammer on the fact that Vince hates tag team wrestling.
Yep. So that's easily my number 4. Seth and Braun over the Good Brothers, the OC.
All right. My number 3 is a lot like my number 5 this year. It was
Charlotte again.
Number 3 through 1, all Charlotte. My number 3 was the November 25th episode of Raw, where Rey Mysterio picked up the U.S. title over AJ Styles. For one, AJ was on a roll. I didn't think he needed. Yep, I didn't think he needed to lose the title. And again, just like my number 5 with the New Day, this was another consolation prize for him falling short to Brock there at Survivor Series. And you could see at Survivor Series, we all wanted it to happen, whether it was feasible or not. We wanted that WWE title change, even if it was for a day, even if it was for Brock come back the next night and squash him, on Raw. I felt like it was the time, and when they had Dominic come in and father-son tandem, it looked like it was going to happen.
Yep.
All that, just made me really sad, and I think
crushed our dreams.
Crushed everybody's dreams. So here, Ray, here's the U.S. title, which he was so psyched to win, because you could tell on his, if you follow him on Instagram, if you saw his picture after winning the title with his son Dominic, I don't know how to explain it, except he could not look more disinterested at all. So that's my number 3.
My number 3 is recent. It just happened. And that is Angel Garza defeating Leo Rush.
No. I gotta give you some flack on that one. What are you talking? No, come on now.
No, hear me out.
I'm trying.
Hear me out. Let me explain. I say it's the worst, and I put it at that spot because I feel like it wasn't the right timing. Like, I don't feel like we've built Angel Garza up enough to have that win at this moment. And I also feel like Leo Rush already beat him.
Technically.
He already beat him. And then, if we're just going to be honest for a minute here, that Cruiserweight title hasn't been as exciting as it's been since Leo Rush won it in a while.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I just felt like the win was too early. Nothing against Angel Garza. Like, I could see that win coming a little bit later and it making a little bit more sense. It would have been a little bit more impactful. But I feel like for right now, it was too soon into Leo Rush's reign. And I feel like we needed to build Garza up a little more to make it seem more important of a win. And it wasn't that for me. It was just like, the match was good.
Match was great.
It was really good.
I liked it, yeah.
It was a really good match. It just, the timing of the change was off for me.
All right. That's probably the first one that we disagree with. But because I do not, I would put that in an honorable mention for top 5. But it's obviously not in my top 5. So, I mean, I guess I'm just talking out of my ass here. But I thought it was perfect timing and everything like that. But to each their own. That's what I'm saying. We didn't talk this over beforehand. Yeah. It's real reaction. Yeah. Fucking mad.
He's legit. He's gonna storm out of here.
His cup. I'm taking this cup with me when I go. That's how mad I am. All right. On to number 2. My second worst title change this year has to go to Brock Lesnar over Kofi Kingston on the October 4th SmackDown premiere. Yes, that is my number 2. And for all the reasons that we already know, and you can probably already guess where this ranks on his, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'll let you have that here in a little bit. Very mad. He's just going to skip number 2, go right to number 9.
I almost did. I know. That pisses me off so bad. Number 2 for me is the Iconics defeating the Boston Hug Connection, Sasha Banks and Bayley.
Right on.
I feel like, you know what I feel like should have happened? The Iconics going into the women's tag team match were the legit only tag team.
True.
In that. And I understand you have the 4 horsewomen, you gotta put the straps on the established acts. Yep. I understand that. However, I feel like at WrestleMania, Sasha and Bayley, they didn't. It wasn't at WrestleMania. It was at Elimination Chamber.
Elimination Chamber is where they won it.
Yeah, that's where they won it. They didn't need that moment.
No.
I feel like that moment would have been bigger for the Iconics to win it there, and because they're never gonna have that big of a moment again. That's
true.
They should have gave the Iconics the titles first. Now, them beating Sasha and Bayley felt like a consolation prize.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't let you get it when you should have got it, so here it is.
That's a hell of a consolation prize.
At the wrong time.
At WrestleMania, I agree with you on the whole premise, and I agree it should have been swapped.
Yeah,
I think that's what we were kind of all thinking. It should have been swapped, have the 4 horsewomen, 2 of the 4 horsewomen win it at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the consolation prize thing, I get where you're coming from, but that's one hell of a consolation prize. Like, if they told me, like, hey, if I was in their position, which, and I'm not, never will be, but if I was in their position and said, hey, look, you could either win it at Elimination Chamber or win it at WrestleMania, I'm sure they're like, back off this one for
I love Bayley. Bayley is on my list.
Yeah, cracked it this year.
Yeah, she's been on it.
Okay,
she's on my lexicon.
On the lexicon, yeah. We'll find out where she ranks on the lexicon here shortly.
Know that Bayley is on this list for sure. But I just when they won it initially at Elimination Chamber, I kind of wanted the Iconics to win it.
I did
at that point. I just wanted they were a legit team. They still are a legit team. And then they won it, and then they were like not ever wrestling.
Nope, didn't even show up on TV.
Yeah, it was sad. What did you give them the belts for?
I don't know. It's a joke.
That's my number 2.
It's another joke belt. I think that's how Vince sees it. So my
it's not now.
No, not now.
No, it ain't now.
No, not now.
The Kabuki.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. So they only took 2 huge women's stars to make the tag team belts feel important.
Yep.
Single competitors. Anyway, so yeah, closing it off with my number 1 worst title change of 2019. We got to go all the way back to the start of the year at the Royal Rumble. I don't know if you remember this. Shane McMahon and The Miz taking the belts off of The Bar, who were dominating the SmackDown tag team division. They were at that time coming in from 2018. They were like, nobody can beat us. We've gone through all the SmackDown teams. Nobody can beat us.
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, you forgot how Shane McMahon was like, yeah, it's been my dream to win tag team championships. And like The Miz was like, yeah, me too, man. It's a big dream of mine. My dad said, hey, that's Shane McMahon. You guys can go far with him. Even though The Miz is the former freaking WWE champion. But his dad wasn't proud of him until he won the SmackDown tag team titles. Yeah.
Let's disregard the fact that Miz is a prior tag champion too.
Exactly.
Miz is Grand Slam champ.
He's Intercontinental champion 8 times. Probably gonna break the record.
Yep.
I'm sure his dad probably still gonna be disappointed in him because nothing will ever top the SmackDown tag team title run he had with Shane McMahon. And not just for them switching the belts. The way that match went down at Royal Rumble, the Bar took out the Miz. They took out the Miz, and then Shane by himself worked two of the like technically best wrestlers in the with Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yep.
Worked them and basically took the belts by himself.
By himself.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else. I know what your number one is, but for me, there's nothing worse than Shane McMahon just absolutely destroying. And then the whole tirade for the rest of the year. This is where it started. This is where it set it up. The heel turn later made it a little bit better, but at this time he was a face.
Yeah.
And he was just throwing himself into tag team championship matches. That's it. I was so mad this year. Everything I had to do with Shane, I'm off it. That's my rant.
I kind of never wanted to talk about this again on this show. And my number one is very obviously...
If you've ever watched this channel, this show, ever.
If you've ever seen this, if you've ever heard me talk wrestling, you know that my number one is Brock Lesnar beating Kofi Kingston on the SmackDown on Fox premiere. And that might rank, if I had to do a top 10 of my lifetime, of my 34 years of watching wrestling, if I had to do a list of worst title changes of my life, that might be in the top 5.
Okay.
It might be number one in my life. That was a terrible. You have Kofi Kingston at the very beginning of the new SmackDown intro video. He's walking out doing all this stuff. He's the face of the program. It's him and Roman. Roman's punching the ground, electricity. Kofi's like, yeah, bring it, all this stuff. And then he loses in 7 fucking seconds. That's the worst. There's never. I've watched Kofi Kingston for years. I've followed his career for a very long time. I cannot remember a time ever in his career in any match that Kofi has started the match, bell rings, he runs and jumps. I've never seen it. Like, why would you do this now? And you're 12 or whatever.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Almost
12, yeah.
Why would you run and jump with Brock Lesnar over there? Like that made that whole match, even after the match with Cain Velasquez coming out, nothing about that whole situation. I'm getting furious right now. I'm thinking about it, but nothing about that entire situation made sense. Like, I'm replaying it because it's so quick to replay because it's 7 fucking seconds. But I've never seen Kofi do that. And, like, why couldn't you, slide? I've seen Kofi slide out of any other move that involves him getting picked up in the air, like, wiggle his way free.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you've been a dominant champ. You've escaped the Kimura lock. You've gotten out of anything Daniel Bryan can throw at you. Like, you got up from Daniel Bryan's running knee.
That's true.
But Brock gets you up, and I'm so mad. Number one, then nothing ever will beat that.
Yeah, clearly.
It's going to take a while for something to beat that.
Clearly. You good?
I think I'm all right.
All calm. Get a sip of your holiday Sprite. Calm you down.
I'm good. I think I'm... Such a terrible decision.
I'll tell you what's not a terrible decision. Starting with the worst, because get that out of your way, we'll move into happier times. We're moving into happier times from 2019 because we're moving into our top 5 best title changes of the year.
My face is like burning up right now.
You'll be all right.
I'm mad.
You'll be all right when you see our list. So you want to start this one?
I'll start it. Okay. I'll start this one off.
Yeah, go ahead. Give you something to smile about.
The best title changes of 2019. My number 5 is recent. Is the most recent title change, and that would be Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley
pulling it off, the most dominant champion.
Man, ending the most dominant reign of a long time.
Long time, yeah.
Of a very long time, and defeating Shayna Baszler. And it was a good match. And I thought, for a second, I didn't think she was going to do it.
I did, yeah. I was right there with you. I thought she had her. I thought she had her in the what was it? I almost said Kimura lock. No, in the Kirifuda. Yeah, because you said it earlier. Yeah. In the Kirifuda clutch, she had her. She had her, and she looked like she was tapping out. Man, when she grabbed that ref, I almost fell out my seat laughing, bro. Oh man, he sold it too, like he was getting dragged to hell. Like he was, I promise. That was a great match. That was absolutely a great match. It was a good finish. It was the right call.
Yeah, it was a really good match, and well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well deserved. I'm not mad at the fact that Shayna was a very dominant champion, but it took a strong effort and somebody of Rhea Ripley's caliber to actually end it. So kudos to her. And number 5 for me, Rhea Ripley, overcoming the odds.
Absolutely.
They even tried to cheat.
They did.
They even tried to cheat, and she still overcame it.
Everything.
Yep. So kudos to Rhea. Number 5 for me.
Number 5 for me is going to be NXT TakeOver New York. You have Walter winning the NXT UK Championship from Pete Dunne. From Pete Dunne.
That was a good match.
If you go back to that match, man, there were times where I think we all kind of saw it in the cards. Pete Dunne had been champion for over 400 days.
Yeah.
And he really didn't have like that. He had when he won it from Tyler Bate. But other than that, like I didn't really see like a defining like match with his for his belt while he was holding the thing. I think he fought, was it Joe Coffey at NXT TakeOver UK Blackpool? I think he fought him. That didn't really do it for me. That wasn't really as impactful as TakeOver New York with Walter.
Yeah.
That match was something else. And really put over the fact that, hey, here's this dude. He is going to take over the entire UK scene.
Yep.
And it was in hindsight a good segue to get Pete Dunne over from the UK scene over here to the, I guess, American NXT, just to make sure like we have like this major star. Kind of sad that the NXT UK lost their biggest star.
Yeah, that's their big star.
But this match right here just not only showed like how good Walter is, but like everything that he could do in the ring. He's not just a big man that likes to chop, which he chops.
Oh, man. And his hand is big.
Oh, dude. I'm getting out.
His hand, like my hold, I'm 6'3". I'm almost the size of him. It's like his hand is huge.
He's a monster. But, yep, that was the match that did it for me. Top 5, my number 5, Walter going over Pete Dunne, NXT TakeOver New York.
Side note.
Yes.
Does Rhea Ripley and Pete Dunne look like siblings to you?
No.
They don't?
Not to me, no.
They look like...
She's from New Zealand, or no, she's from
I know she's from Australia.
Yeah.
And I know they're not.
I know they're not, yeah.
I know for sure that they're not. I look at them and I'm like, man, y'all look like y'all could be related. Like, it looks like that's your little sister.
No, not even a little bit. I guess they had the same haircut. If you remember when Pete Dunne first came in.
That is not all white people looking like
number 4. Number 4, Pete Dunne and Rhea Ripley look the same. That's his number 4 right there.
My number 4 is the Velveteen Dream.
See, he didn't plan that.
I didn't. I didn't at all.
Yeah. But we didn't know we were doing this list till like 5 minutes before we started shooting.
The Velveteen Dream beating Johnny Wrestling for the North American title. That was, for one, it was shocking because it wasn't on, initially when it happened, it wasn't on like a takeover or anything like that. And to me, those are arguably the 2 bigger takeover stars. You want to throw Ciampa in there, maybe, but...
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, those 2 always have had great takeover matches. Even regardless of who their opponents are, they always have great takeover matches. So to me, that would have been a good takeover match to have. But to see that, Dream came out on top and then had a nice long reign until
decent reign.
Recent events have happened. But I was really, I'm a Dream fan, of course. So to see him win that strap, that was a good moment for me. So, Dream number 4.
That's a good one. That one hurt me a little because I'm a huge Gargano fan. So
But it was a good.
It was a good, yeah. It was a good transition.
transition.
It had to happen. It had to. I understand that.
He went on to bigger and better goals.
He did. We might talk about that later. Who knows? My number 4 is actually your number 5. It was a little higher up for me. I got Rhea Ripley going over Shayna Baszler for all the reasons we said. It just, I think what pushed it ahead of the Walter and Pete Dunne match was just how special it was. You know, like how we said, the dominant title reign coming to an end in the right and proper fashion to the right person.
Yeah.
So that's my number 4.
Number 3. You know, I have this as number 3, but I need to tie it into another reign here.
Okay.
Number 3 is Bayley cashing in.
Okay, I see what you mean.
On Charlotte right after Charlotte beat Becky for the SmackDown Women's title.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also going to add in the fact that Bayley beat Charlotte again for the same title a month later, a few weeks later?
No, so it was, so Bayley had won at Money in the Bank initially, and then about 3 months later, I believe, Charlotte takes the belt off of Bayley. Because Bayley was coming in, that was when she was doing her dominant face run.
Yeah.
So she was coming in and she was beating up everybody, she was beating all her challengers, which weren't the best challengers, honestly. Like, I think, the toughest she had was Ember Moon, I think. So, and they didn't really give that too much time.
Nah, they didn't.
But she was coming in, she was beating all the would-be challengers until you get the final boss, Charlotte. Until you find, you come up against final boss Charlotte.
And Charlotte beat her, which was number 5 on the worst list. But the next win, so I'm tying that together.
Sure.
The next win led to the heel turn.
Because it was only about a week's difference
So really, I mean, it's kind of a continuation. They gave it to Charlotte for a week, which why? But I get if it meant that the heel turn had to happen that way and needed Bayley to get upset and turn heel, then I get it, even though I don't like it. But Bayley cashing in, that was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
It was perfect timing. It was like we needed Bayley to step in there, and it to me it seems like when you think of the 4 horsewomen, Bayley is often forgotten about in the scheme of things.
Now, yeah.
And she had her moment. You beat the top. You beat the head of the horsewomen.
That's true.
And then not only did you do it once, but then you came back and did it again. Like right afterwards.
The only thing I'm worried about is they were both kind of surprise finishes, kind of.
She cheated to win.
She cheated to win the second one, but the first one with the old shock and awe, I was like, and I'm not a big fan of the Money in the Bank cash in the same night. That happened a couple times. It was all right with Dean Ambrose and Kane, but after that, a woman needs to hold that belt or that briefcase for a little longer than 2 hours.
Carmella held it for like a year.
Okay, so she just did it for everybody. It's like
we're not doing this no more. Carmella held that shit for like a year.
That's fair. We'll get it. We'll talk about that a little later on down the road. But my number 3. We're going back to NXT TakeOver New York, and that was a great show. Yeah. It was a great show this year. You have a vacant NXT championship, and man, I look at it, it's like we really, I don't want to say we got robbed, but events happen, life happens. We almost got Gargano and Ciampa 3. Mm-hmm. That would have been the crowning of their whole storyline, their whole everything, history and everything like that. I don't know if Gargano would have gone over at that point, the way everything was building up. But in its place, which was beautifully crafted, I might add, NXT TakeOver New York, the main event, Johnny Gargano winning the NXT Championship from Adam Cole.
See?
That was...
He had to drop the belt.
He had to drop the dreams to the dream. In hindsight, it was perfect. But at the same time, when it was happening, I don't know, if you were in the same boat as me, I didn't think he was going to win it. I didn't, because you had already. I didn't think he was going to win because it looked like it was going to be Ciampa versus Gargano 3. I thought Tommaso was going to go over anyway. Mm-hmm. So they bring in Adam Cole. I was like, this is his time. Yeah. It's Adam Cole's time, baby. Yep. So I thought, okay, this is a perfect way to kind of segue him in early, take it over at Gargano, who's been like, kind of just not in the right frame of mind, but focusing on Ciampa. He's not going to be ready to take on Cole. But in a phenomenally shocking. Like, I literally almost cried when I saw that, because I've been a Johnny Wrestling fan from day one. He is the new. He might arguably be Mr. NXT above what Sami Zayn was.
Yeah.
And to see him in his crowning moment,
definitely,
right there, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back to like the start of NXT. He was, it was the same kind of 1 and 2. Maybe 1A, Johnny Gargano, Sami Zayn. It's right there. But for me, Johnny Gargano takes that mantle a little bit higher, and that's why his win at TakeOver New York was my number 3.
I actually thought differently for a reason. I thought Adam Cole was gonna win because I thought Gargano was on his way out.
At the time,
they were kind of teasing that at the time before Ciampa got hurt.
Yeah,
they had them on Raw. Occasionally
had them tag teaming on Raw.
Like, these guys were bitter enemies.
If you were an NXT fan, you were mad at that point. Like,
and I was like, they're about to move these two up as a team. Yeah. I mean,
DIY.
I love DIY.
Yes,
but
it just wasn't
not at that time.
Especially when their storyline was still going on at the time.
You just gonna forget that he DDT'd him on the floor.
Exactly. 2 days later, it's Monday. On Wednesday, we're gonna look at these two and be like, "What y'all just?" Y'all was dapping up on Monday.
Didn't he have him handcuffed and DDT? Oh, now we a tag team.
Yeah, we cool now.
That's why I thought Adam Cole was gonna win that one. Not because of anything else, but I didn't forget about the handcuff DDT. That's why. What are we at? Number 2?
Number 2, and I think you and me are in agreement, and I would assume most of the wrestling population is probably in agreement with 1 and 2. Maybe it just depends on your preference. 1 and 2 might be swapped, but I think, have the exact same order for 1 and 2 for us.
Number 2 for me, Becky 2 belts. Becky Lynch, arguably the hottest act in WWE altogether.
Mm-hmm. Still at the time, at the time of recording, still. She's cooled off.
She was gone for a few weeks. That still hasn't been
you're still mad about that.
Like, where'd you go?
Yeah.
While your fiance is teetering.
Yeah, he a bad guy now.
Yeah.
And she's just gonna come in like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Disassociate yourself with. Anyway. At that point, it was the hottest. It was the hottest thing at the time. Something wound up taking it over, but she was having a hell of a run.
Yep.
Ronda was looking like unbeatable at the time, and still kind of in the match. But Becky had to win. That was her moment. They let them main event. It was the first time in history that women main evented WrestleMania.
Yep.
And Becky is the one at the end of the night, 2 belts raised above her head, looking just amazing in victory. So Becky Lynch, number 2 for me.
Becky Lynch, Becky 2 belts was also number 2 for me. And just to add on to that, like you said, right image, right everything going off and everything like that. If that hadn't happened, I'm afraid New York would have literally burned to the ground.
Yeah.
Because people would have been pissed. They were souring on Ronda. It was obvious she went in kind of heelish at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I'm a little worried about is if you were there, you saw it, and I think WWE is probably going to do a good job of editing it out, but it was kind of not a screwy finish, but because Ronda didn't keep her shoulders on the mat for the pin, it's the right move. It was the right outcome of the night. It was going to happen either way. It's just, for me, watching it live as it happened, not in the crowd, but watching it live on the network, seeing that's always going to be just like something we can't change.
Yep.
But for me, it's going to be like a little bit like an asterisk, like, she didn't win it on that roll-up, but she was going to either way. So
she was going to win it.
Number 2, perfect.
That would have been the highlight of the year.
But because this is the heel turn, because this is your show on your channel, and you make the rules.
Yes.
Well, I just had to go with whatever I was told if I wanted to keep coming back.
You see what's number 1. You're fired.
What is cue card? So switch it down. Coffee King. Oh, okay.
Number 1, without a shadow of a doubt, is Kofi Kingston winning the World Heavyweight title over Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. I don't think I need to. You know what? I will.
I don't think there's enough camera. I don't think there's enough memory. There's not enough battery on this camera.
I'm going to break this down for a minute.
Oh, great.
You're going to get to your point here in a second because we know that's your number one too.
That is my number one.
But let me take the time here.
I'm going to finish this one.
Let me take the time here to say the reason that is. I'm a little bit older than him, so he doesn't remember seeing live Ron Simmons catching Vader and slamming Vader to become the very first African American in the books. Very first African American heavyweight champion. You don't remember that. You weren't born yet when that happened. I was like 7, I think, when that happened. So I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And when I saw Ron Simmons catch, because Vader, if I do an all-time list, Vader is on my list.
Okay.
And Vader was dominant in a way that, like, I didn't know wrestling wasn't real.
What? What do you mean?
As a 7-year-old, I'm thinking Vader is killing people out there. Kids, children out there. Shh. Vader used to punch people so hard that I'm like, still now as a grown-up, I'm like, I don't know how you didn't really hit people.
Vader was actually hitting people, though. It came out later. He was definitely stiff enough.
Vader would knock the shit out of people. In the corner, just bow. It's like,
oh, yeah.
And he did that to Ron Simmons.
He was giving it to people.
And it just was like, running to the rope, Ron Simmons come back, Vader, boom. I'm like, good Lord, stop the damn match.
Throw the damn towel in.
Throw the damn towel. But Vader comes off the rope. Ron Simmons catches him, power slam. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, it's history in the making. Ron Simmons was the first African American world heavyweight champion. We've had countless other African Americans that have been great since 1992 or 3. I think that's when that happened.
Yeah.
Booker T, Mark Henry, arguably MVP could have did it.
He could have done it
during his run. Bobby Lashley, the first run. Not now. I don't want to see Bobby Lashley.
Oh man, but he's done everything to earn it. Okay.
He's not.
All right, fine.
He has to go through me. Hell, Big E.
Maybe. That's still to come.
That'll probably happen.
There's still a chance, yeah.
I'm saying, up until this point, there have been so many others that, like, mainly Booker.
And not only that, like you said, all those great guys, when they won their world title, that was still considered the secondary.
That was the secondary title.
Secondary title. It wasn't the WWE Championship. You know, it was the big gold belt, but it wasn't what Ron Simmons' big gold belt was. When
Booker won this title, it was a great moment. It's still, King Booker winning the world title is great.
Throw it up for Booker.
That was great. Arguably, when Mark Henry beat Randy Orton and won this title, it was great. It was a great moment.
That was a great moment.
Hall of Pain was a serious thing when it was happening. So that was a great moment. I thought it could have happened for Mark Henry.
Yeah, when he did the salmon suit.
Oh my God! That if we were to do a list of best promos of this past decade, number 1. I was watching that.
I'm not even gonna. We get into too much of an argument right now if I fought you over that, but okay.
Dude, I was about to cry. Yeah, I was watching that.
I was too. I was right there with you.
But I say all that to say that we haven't really had, as African Americans, too many opportunities to see
representatives with the top belt.
With the top belt. So when Kofi won it, I'm sitting right here and I'm watching it and I'm just like, this is happening. Like, somebody's doing this. And then you get online and you see was it Shad Gaspard from
from old Crime Time?
Crime Time. And MVP, and they're sitting there like, tears of their eyes, both guys. And then they like dap each other up and hug somebody like, oh man, he did it.
Big tough dudes.
Yeah. And they are former wrestlers. And it's like, the look on their faces is like, they didn't even think this could happen. And like, MVP was great during his time. And it's like, he didn't think this was gonna happen. Booker T, he didn't think this was gonna happen. Mark Henry, all these former black African American wrestlers are just like, wow. And you can see the raw emotion. And I don't know anybody that's African American, and I keep saying that, but period. You could feel that emotion, like when Kofi got the 3 count. That was a big deal. And that's also why it pissed me off that Brock won in 7 seconds.
That's true.
Like, Kofi's time was up. Yes, it was time for Kofi to drop the belt, but not like that after WrestleMania.
After what he did to win it.
Yeah, and he overcame the odds. The storyline took over Becky's rise because Becky was on fire.
Yep.
And they built that story up for Kofi so well that it took over everything that Becky was doing. That was the real main event of WrestleMania.
That was, yeah. You could see just by the crowd reaction.
Yeah, that was the... Sorry, women. You guys earned it, but they kind of... The storyline ruled itself. I'm sorry. It just kind of took over.
You could have had both huge things. If WrestleMania wasn't a 9-hour show,
yes.
It probably both could have had the exact same reaction, but the crowd was tired of it.
Yeah, so I went into a long rant about it. I'm sorry, but I had to explain why that was number one. That's a big deal for me, and that was an emotional moment as a wrestling fan because I haven't had that much to the representation of that in my life other than Ron Simmons beating Vader. So.
You didn't count The Rock?
Do we count The Rock?
That's on you to decide.
I love Rock. I love
Rock too. Man, it's almost Dwanta Claus. Might have heard that. You might not be getting anything for Christmas from Dwanta.
Asterisk. He's half.
Yeah.
But
I'll let you guys decide.
I'm not fighting The Rock. If Rock knocked out my door, I'm like, hey man, you're 100% black, is what I'm saying. And then he knows Samoan.
Yeah, we ain't forget you. Yeah, man. I don't think there's much else I can add to that other than it was the best moment of 2019.
Yeah, easily.
Yep.
You know what? Let me go back to The Rock.
Damn.
Let me go back to The Rock because I don't want this to look bad on The Rock. When Rock won his title, he won it bad. He wasn't like he cheated and he joined the corporation. It wasn't a proud moment when Rock won his first title.
All right, fine. I guess.
Like if Rock would have like overcome the Hart Foundation or something crazy if that was happening, like the corporation was just giving it to him and he couldn't overcome the odds and he just finally broke through, then okay, yeah. The Rock, that was a big moment. When Rock won it, he cheated. He joined Vince McMahon and Vince was the evil owner at the time. And Rock, why?
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Why, Rocky?
You gotta do what you...
That's not what you gotta do.
You gotta do it. And look where he's at now.
That's why. When Ron Simmons won it, yes. When Ron Simmons won it, it was a big deal. He was Ron Simmons, he overcame the odds. When Kofi won it, he overcame the odds. You got handed the title from the boss. And you cheated, Rock. That's why we don't count yours.
That's why you are on the worst worst title changes of the past 25 years. Congratulations. Number one.
Yeah, so that's it. Is that it? That's it.
That's all I got. Man, it's been a wild year, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It's been a pretty good one. It's been a pretty good, barring some of the bigger injuries, I think those would have changed some of the storylines.
That's true.
I think we wouldn't have got certain matches that we have on our list as great matches. Gargano and
Cole.
Adam Cole probably wouldn't have happened minus Ciampa's unfortunate injury.
Yep. Kofi Mania wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Kofi Mania without
Mustafa Ali going down.
That probably wouldn't have never happened. I don't want to say thank goodness that happened.
No, thank goodness at all. But I don't know if it would have been the same.
Yeah.
You know, his babyface build was coming, but Kofi's just
Ali was coming up. Unfortunately, he got hurt.
Just felt organic.
Then the New Day. That's on your worst, right? Them winning.
Yeah, over the Revival.
That wouldn't have happened if Xavier didn't get hurt.
You don't think so?
I don't think.
Oh yeah, because it looked like Kofi was starting to turn.
Remember with the pancake squeezing?
Yeah.
So I don't think Kofi. I don't think they give him or give the New Day the tag titles had Xavier not torn his ACL and gone down.
Okay.
So injuries played a big part in the year, but still with all of that happening, I think that overall that they made the best of each of those situations.
Yes.
And the right teams, maybe not in the New Day situation, but hey, those are my boys.
Those are his boys.
Those are number one on the boys list. New Day is on the list.
I feel like that's cheating.
They number one.
Nah, 3 people taking over
That's
that slot.
three.
You're a
three.
cheater. You're a cheater.
Free birds. they're on the list, but yeah, I think it has been a good year, and I think the introduction of AEW has also made it an even better year because now there's the competition. Now it's not just the monopoly on wrestling.
That's true.
You gotta watch what the other guys are doing. Granted, there's been other guys for years, but now these other guys are actually good.
Yeah, major players.
Yeah, now we got a different league that is doing major work. So, great year. This is list number 1. We will do more lists.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a whole week coming up where we might be able to throw in a few more lists up in here, and you guys are gonna really, if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you got your own opinions. They're wrong.
Yeah, we're right.
Well, here's to a good 2020, and looking forward to more title changes that we love, and really, really, really scoffing at the ones that we hate.
Yes. But that's gonna do it for this one. Thumbs up if you like this video.
Or if you don't, just throw a thumbs up anyway.
Yeah, just thumbs up for no reason.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, that's our gift. Let us know what you think. Best title changes, worst title changes. Leave that in the comments. Let us know how we're doing. And we will holler at you all in the next video. Peace.